Okay. Good evening. I'm Ricky Siton and my wife Mimi. We're tasked to give the talk on the Christian family. We're a struggling parent to have a perfect family, and we're married for almost 32 years. Or going 33 na pala. Tapos na kami sa last July, our 32nd year in being married. And there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. It can only be perfect in the presence of God's love within the husband and wife. No? But if your guard is down, then the taning will come in. That's time you have troubles. But in the BCBP culture, when we talk about priorities, we always taught, and this I learned by heart from when I joined BCBP up to today, and I shared that to my children, that priorities in life is in this order. No? It's God, family, now country, we include that, work, and every others follows. No? So again, priority in life is God, family, country, work, and others follow. There were major decisions in life that because of that order of priority that's clear, easy to remember, I'd like to believe I made a lot of right decisions. The objective of this talk tonight is to stress the importance of marriage and the need to build strong Christian families, to strengthen relationship between spouses, and to have parents seriously assume the responsibility over their children. So we have here tonight members who have children, about to be parents, and single or planning to settle down or to have their own families. And as far as Mimi and I, we're going to be grandparents very soon. So, dalawa pa next year. So, marriage and family are counted among the most precious of human possessions. Families are the basic units of human society. The well-being of the individual person and of both human and Christian society is closely bound up with the healthy state of conjugal, the husband and wife relationship, and family life. Wait. Oh. Hindi, kahapon lang yan. Sinabi. The Christian family, it is an institution created by God. In Genesis 2:18, it says, "The Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a suitable partner for him." So, again, the family is anchored on the father, the male, lalaki sa pamilya. So, it started, and the Lord gave us a gift of our partner, the wife. And in Matthew 19:5, it says, "For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and the two shall become as one." This one, I thank my father for really teaching me to when I decided to get married, my parents told me, when you decide to get married, you have to leave the house. It's not that we don't love you anymore, but you just have to learn to be independent. No? So, pag sinabi kong, if I insist that I'm going to get married to this lady on my right, then I have to leave the house. No? After 32 years, no, I really thank my parents for that learning. No? Kasi, again, though there were a lot of troubles, anxieties, challenges, no? But, facing the world by yourself, with your spouse, with your family, and with God, you conquer this, you became a better person, and you became even a Christian parent. No? So, I also told this to my children anyway. For Junjun and Juvie, if you know them, when they decided to get married, no, hindi ko na sinabi. No? You understand, Patrick? Sometimes I speak konti lang. Bisaya, you understand? Well, yeah. So my two sons, when they got married, 2 consecutive years, no? The eldest, 2000, just last year, and my second son just April this year. When they asked my consent, so it's understood already that they will leave the house, whether I like it or not. No? So they're living on their own right now, and they have a lot of struggles. No? And if they have problems, they share it with us, and as much as possible, I just give them encouragement. And most of the time, they're able to solve their own problems. In Matthew 19:6, thus they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore, let no man separate what God has joined. So, this is sacramental. No? Marriage is very sacred, and no man can separate the two. And in Genesis 1:28, it says, God blessed them, saying, be fertile and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. So, in my case, I had 3 boys, and that's it. So, that's, I would say, I've done and fulfilled this scripture. Meron tayong mga brothers that they have 6 children, 5 children, doesn't matter though. So, Christian family is about relationship between husband and wife. This is very important, and it should be based on God's love, where it should be nurtured and it should grow within the relationship. In the absence of God's love, then there's hell in your relationship. That I tell you. No? So, you're very fortunate. You're in this BCLP, and you learn these teachings, and I really urge you to study more, learn more about this, because family really starts, well, from the father, but the culture is built on how the husband and wife practice, share, nurture God's love in the family. Now, the next 2 verses, I think most of the men in this room have memorized it. This is the favorite verse. In Ephesians 5:21 to 23 and 25 and 28. It says, submit yourself to one another because of your reverence for Christ. And this is the favorite among the husbands. Wives, submit yourself to your husbands as to the Lord. For a husband has authority over his wife, just as Christ has authority over the church. Kung ipa-recite ko if I ask June to recite it without the text, he can recite it. And for the wives, this is for you, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it. Men ought to love their wives just as they love their own bodies. A man who loves his wife loves himself. So I'd like to repeat this teaching to emphasize the operative word in the verses. So from this we submit to one another because of our faith and belief in Jesus Christ. And then the wives should submit to the husband. Okay lang? Wives, submit to the husbands. As to the Lord. For the husband has authority. So the husband has authority over the wives. Just as Christ has authority over the church. But again, husbands, love your wives. Just as Christ has loved the church and gave his life for it. So, we should love our wives to a point of offering our lives to them. That's how we should love our wife. Agree? Good. And let me elaborate. Submit in Greek is hopotasso, which literally means stand under. So, wife, you should be under the husband. When wives stand under the husband's leadership, they should also stand under God's blessing. Agree? Husband, dapat under yung wives. But that's not the context, no? Don't understand it because you want it, yung selfish motive mo na magiging under ang wives. No, that's not the case. But it should be based in love and trust and uphold each other's dignity. The Christian family, God made the marriage state the beginning and foundation of human society. It is the apostolate of married persons. It is the couples are for each other and for their children. And parents have the obligation to pass on the faith and to educate their children by word and example. So, as parents, really very challenging and difficult because you have to walk your talk. No? That's the most effective way of teaching our children. We have to walk our talk. Mahirap yan. And we have to give our children a Christian upbringing. And we have to defend the dignity and legitimacy of the autonomy of the family. And finally, that the Christian family is the vital cell of our society, and it is the domestic sanctuary of the church. And as I mentioned, the Christian family will always be subjected to under attack by the other forces. So, one is being a secular humanism on areas of sexuality, intolerant attitude, and duly repressed sexual conduct, right of birth control, abortion, and divorce. So there are sectors in our society who are fighting for this. No? Despite these are against the teaching of the church, somehow, and most of the time they get the ways in our legislators. No? And most of this, the divorce, abortion, birth control, are even pending bills. And some of them have been passed. No? So our Christian family values are always subject to that tax from society. Also from economic pressures, where mothers are forced to work. No? Well, working overseas, maraming OFW. And children are deprived of good parenting and family life. And because of this, society loses its vitality, and unfortunately, the number of disturbed people is increasing. There's peer pressure. Our children will always be subjected to peer pressure. But if they have a strong foundation, they always respond correctly. Even if they're bullied, they know how to handle it. And lastly, social media. Access to information is open with the internet. And this one is really how close you are to your children, how open is your communication, so that they will, even if they're introduced to some concepts or some principles, you're always there to put it in the right perspective. So being a Christian parent is really difficult, especially during this time. So here are some tips on how to counter these challenges in bringing up a Christian family. First, as I mentioned, we have to know our priorities. Again, that is God, family, country, work, others follow. We have to plan and take the time to build a strong family with Christian values. Our presence has more value than any other things. Not even gifts, not even presence is very important, even without talking. I have a good, two instances in my being a father. First, my eldest son, June, he's a very shy, he doesn't talk much. So I have difficulty communicating with him. And then one night, we were watching a basketball game, and I noticed he loved basketball. So what I did was, I bought a small court, installed it in the garage, and every time I come home, I play basketball before we play basketball before we take dinner, mga 15 minutes game. And then, without talking, I can see it in his eyes, in his body language, that is, every time we bump each other, he blocks my shots, so on and so forth. I can see the smile in his eyes, and we're communicating, and it's okay with me. I'm already happy about it. And that started the silent or the no language communication between me and John. Then eventually start talking. He became comfortable with me and shared a lot of things. Another opportunity God told me about being present in the family and in the lives of our children. When I decided to move from Cagayan de Oro to Manila for another career, I was vacant for almost 2 months. No? I was applying for a job. So I have a lot of time taking the house chores and taking care of the children. No? And it was a gift for me, really, because it was a formative stage of my children. June, maybe that time was about 8, Jovi about 7, and Dude's about 5 years old. So I really became to know them personally, and they became open to me. So because of that instant, because of that bonding time, because of that relationship built between me and my boys, it went a long way. Solve a lot of problems, minimize miscommunication, being comfortable with each other, being happy. Most of the time, what I say to them, they listen, and what I instruct, they do, with less resistance, because I think the trust level was there. Mataas masyado yung trust level maybe. And again, if I may overemphasize this, be present. You don't have to talk, you don't have to magtumbling-tumbling dyan, but your presence would be more than enough. My dad, kasi we're 11 in the family, and my dad was provincial fiscal in our province. But every time we have a crisis, 11 of us, my father just would pop out and they, how can I help? Somehow he has that, I'm pretty sure, conscious effort, to be there during the trying moments of his children. Schedule priorities to ensure that family spends time together. I always give this task to Mimi. Sunday we go to Mass, then after Mass, bahala ka ng may activity dapat tayo. Either we stay home, may activity, we go out for dinner, may activity. Well, between me and Mimi, we used to, for the longest time, we play badminton every Tuesday. Then we have dinner after badminton. So, 2-in-1 ka agad yan, di ba? May exercise na, then there's dinner after badminton. So, mura pa yung dinner. Sige na sa, but, you really have just to schedule these things. And be committed that these things happen and becomes a pattern. Also with family recreation, outings, movies, conscious effort to schedule it so that your children will be used to aligning your schedules before they schedule their personal personal time also. For example, when my kids start dating, we told them, if it's Sunday, then you bring them to church with us. Then after church, you can go wherever you go. So I can say that about maybe 95% of the time, we always go to church on Sunday together as a family. Even today, well, June is in the U.S. now, but my other two sons, Jovi is married, but as much as possible, he joins us to church every Sunday. Why? Because I learned it from my father also. Because my father, pag Sunday, go to church as a family. At that time, pag hindi ka sumama o tulog ka o late ka, you get spanked. So, that really stick in my mind. Ito, very important. Pray together. Well, the family that prays together stays together. Participate in church services, no? And activities together as a family. And as parents, assume your obligation as educators to teach your children Christian faith and morals. But again, it's more effective if you walk your talk. Or don't even talk, just do it. Your children will follow. So, here are some common factors of a strong, healthy families. One, again, priorities, clear priorities, and putting order in one's life. Here in the community in BCBP, when you mention about I have order in my life, well, maybe, yes, it can be finances, it can be your work, it can be your schedule, but it's always understood as your family is in order. When you're playing that, okay, I have order in my life, meaning your family is in order. Again, time and presence. And finally, strong faith help binds them together and provides resource to cope with crisis and adversity. Just as we introduce Christ to you personally, it's the obligation of the parents to really also introduce Christ to their lives. No? But again, the best way to do it is by example. Strong faith, life challenges. Okay. So, be aware that to build a Christian family culture, you have to do some patterns. No? And the patterns, once done repeatedly, consistently, plan well, put funds on it, and make it happen, and make it a habit with the children, then it becomes a family culture. About family devotions and family worship, going to church together, praying together as a family, praying the rosary, praying alone in adoration chapel. My father introduced me that I can pray on my own when he brings us to the adoration chapel, because he said this room. So that introduced me to personal prayer direct to the Lord. Family Bible study and service. No, I have 3 boys, so I encourage them to serve in the church and to be members of the Knights of the Altar. Lord's Day in BCBP, you'll have an opportunity to join Lord's Day, and if you have children, as much as possible, invite them to join this event. On family traditions, again, going to church every Sunday, prayer habit. The prayer becomes a habit. Minsan, it's routinary for them. No. But one day, once they know Jesus Christ personally, then it will give the right meaning and the right reasons for praying. Celebrations, birthdays, reading session with the children, vacation, celebrating holidays, and doing the same interest on music and arts. I have a small band in the family. No? I play the guitar, we do lang po. And my kids learn to play their own instruments, we do din. No? Joby, siya yung medyo showbiz sa amin. So, may band siya on his own, and he can play the lead guitar. Dudes can play several instruments, and he can read notes. But he plays the bass sa band namin, and June plays the drums. No? ako ang lead singer. Ah, hindi pala, si Mimi. So, serving as a family. We know all this, no? Joshua 24:15. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Being affectionate, open door policy, being inclusive, hospitable. We serve the grandparents, widows, elderly, handicaps. The ISF, in my line of work, I do a lot of provide housing to the homeless, so I bring my kids with me every weekend. Going to church with them, doing a lot of things. Yeah, just blend with them and immerse with the ISF families. So being an evangelistic team, it's being encouraged also for you to be able to build a Christian family. So these are my children. So this is how big my family as of today. This is the wife of June, si Grace. They're now in the US. This is the daughter of Cesar Balae. Ano si Balae? Lumabas. So this is Anna and this is Jovi. Dudes, single pa. Pumayat na yan ngayon. So this was. And then this is, of course, Mimi. At this point, I'd like to call on Mimi to share on something, key points that you might learn from her.
Good evening. Short lang to. Let me just share some family story. So, tapos na ni Ricky na discuss everything. So, on building Christian family life, stories about this. On building Christian family life, earlier, when our children were still young, we have some house rules which will need to be followed until such time these rules became the family's way of life. For family bonding, we used to have Fridays as pizza night. So, maagang nagsisiuwi ang mga anak ko. We start by saying the rosary around 7 p.m. Then we enjoy the pizza. And sometimes we watch movie. Ano pa nun eh? Ano ba tawag? VHS. We just do it actually in our living room. And then Sundays are family day until now. So we go to mass together and eat out after. The rest of the day are spent jamming at home by playing musical instruments, as mentioned by Ricky. Lahat sila they play musical instruments and learning new songs, or we just sit down, chikahan lang, and make kwentuhan. We discuss anything, career, business, family activities, and sometimes a little about politics. So we share our mga reactions. We make sure during school breaks, we have family activities or vacations. It may not be to an expensive place, but we manage to have enjoyable and memorable vacation. Si Ricky, the head of the family, would tirelessly make us all understand and make clear to us, by example, what should be our priorities in life. As he mentioned, God, family, work or career, and the rest follows. I can say the family members became more prayerful. Our sons became more open to us by telling us their concerns and fears. Kasi mahilig kami magkwentuhan eh. So I think na-develop din yung openness. No? Huwag kang matakot, sinasabi namin. Kahit masakit yan, just tell us. I guess, and I'd like to believe that even the quote-unquote secretest of their secrets, they are able to tell us. And so with us, we are also open to them. Ricky and I became more understanding and patient to each other. And hopefully, we were able to show to our boys what an unconditional love is, as we should be the example of our children. But know also that families, as mentioned by Ricky, are sometimes under attack. There are challenging and concerns that may come along the way and somehow greatly affect our family. When I was stricken with breast cancer a few years ago, my family was devastated. But knowing God as our great healer, we turned to Him. Together, we humbly knelt down and prayed that God may heal me from the disease. God was true to His promise. He really healed me. My sons are first-hand witnesses to God's power of healing. As to priorities in life, one evening, we heard our eldest son talking to a friend over the phone. Since his friend was telling my son about his problem. So, while after a few minutes of discussion, my son would ask his friend, Brad, nagdasal ka na ba? Did you pray? And what is your priorities in life? So, ginagaya na niya si Ricky. So, kasi yun ang kinakagisnan niya di ba? Nade-develop na yung values. As to being prayerful, our youngest son, Dudes, attended a leadership training in Baguio during his first year in Manila Science. The training started on a Friday and to end on Sunday afternoon. Thinking that he cannot make it anymore to attend Mass with us, so he asked permission from the teacher if he can attend Mass early morning before the training starts. He took a taxi and attended Mass at 6 a.m. So pagdating ng Monday, the teacher called me to congratulate. Sabi ko, bakit? Sabi niya, congratulations for instilling to your son the value of faithfulness in attending Mass during Sundays. My second son, Juvie, during the entire law school, he would always ask for prayers every time may exam siya. So, ibig sabihin, araw-araw, he would ask me, Ma, pagdasal mo ko, Ma, may exam ako ngayon. Always. He said that prayers makes him feel secure and calm. My eldest son, June, is so prayerful. Aside from the Sunday Mass, hindi pa yan siya makontento dyan. He would visit the Blessed Sacrament often. So in a week, mga 2 times nag-visit pa siya ng Blessed Sacrament. And before he leaves the house, he makes the sign of the cross. Just before leaving the house, magsa-sign of the cross siya. And that's why, palagi kaming may holy water doon sa may altar namin. Kasi kukuha pa siya ng holy water para mag-sign of the cross. Sa Pittsburgh, we just visited him a few weeks ago. So, every day, pinapasyal niya kami. After a day's tour, matugugulat kami, dinadala kami sa church. Oh, may mass ba? Sabi niya, kahit walang mass, mag-pray tayo. So, that's him, no? So, we're happy seeing him na ganon. Sabi nga niya, first consideration niya in choosing the home that he has now, kasi daw malapit sa church. So, good. As to being faithful to Him, when my boys were still in grade school, Ricky made a house rule. Palaging may house rules yan si Ricky. Nobody can play the PlayStation on a weekday. So that's the rule. Kailangan sundin. Then came a holiday on a weekday. Diba? So parang confusing. Holiday on a weekday. So that's, then came a holiday on a weekday. So dudes went to a friend's house at the neighborhood. There, his friend was playing PlayStation. So, nanonood lang siya, and the friend invited him to join. Come on, dudes, play ka na rin ng PlayStation. Sabi ni dudes, no, I cannot. And then siguro, 3 to 4 times siya ini-invite. He was firm in saying no. And then, finally, the mother came. Sabi niya, sige na dudes, go, join them. You play PlayStation. Sabi ni dudes, no, I really cannot. Bawal eh. Weekday ngayon eh. Sabi, ano naman holiday eh. Kahit na, weekday pa rin. Sabi, I think it was a Wednesday. Wednesday, weekday pa rin yun eh. Sabi naman ng mother, sige na, promise, hindi ko sasabihin sa papa mo. Maglaro ka na lang. Hindi ko sasabihin sa papa mo. Sabi ni Dudes, hindi pa rin po. Kasi kahit I know that Papa will not see me play the PlayStation, but God still will see me. Sabi niya. So, kahit hindi po tayo pwedeng magtago sa kanya. So, sobrang na-embarrassed the mother. Was so embarrassed that she called me sa office namin. Sabi niya, Mimi, ano ba to? Hiyang-hiya ako sa anak mo. Sabi niya. So, alam mo, from then on, every time I see that mother, she would always remember that incident. So, sabi niya, nagbago na ako. So, that ends my sharing.
Okay. By the way, masarap ang food. The salad and sisig. Kulang ng beer. So, be creative, be diligent in building a strong Christian family life. Though it is not always easy and fun, it requires vision, commitment, diligence, and hard work on our part. So, it's very challenging. Again, you're fortunate that you're going through this Christian life program because it's really the right foundation. And be diligent about it, work hard, study, attend teachings in the community. I'm pretty sure you'll be a Christian husband, a Christian wife, a better Christian parent, and you'll raise a Christian family. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Willie and Mimi. I have BCBP has a little token for you. God bless continue your family and thank you for your service.
Dinaan sa, sinilip niyo naman, dinaan sa,